when I first started jujitsu, I was at a uniform school, and I just hated. I had been doing classes, and I hated like some of the moves that are like so impractical, but they're okay for sport jujitsu. So like you're gonna grab the sleeves. Notice I'm not even wearing sleeves right now. No
Hmm.
sleeves, right? So you're gonna grab the sleeves and then you're gonna like pull the sleeves and then you're going to use your feet to control. It's called spider guard. So basically you put your feet inside the elbow and then you're holding the sleeves and then that's how you control someone, right? And then there's no-gi jujitsu where it's like we're wearing what we're wearing right now. Okay, so you have the closest thing to a gi on because you have long sleeves,
Sure.
right? So what happens if I grab your like sleeve and then pull on it? What's gonna happen to your shirt?
Stretch.
It's gonna stretch,
Yeah.
right? So the thing about the gi is that it's made not to stretch. That's why you can do these moves like the spider guard.
Okay.
And I never like put that in my mind. Like every time we were learning those lessons, I was like, ah, no, this is not for me. Or like some weird moves, like the original way that jujitsu started is through like Vale Tudo, which is fighting. Okay. So like then that's what got me interested. Like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There's Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, but like I guess that was like for the samurai. So that's why they wore the uniform because you're wearing like the samurai clothes so you can so like underneath the samurai clothes you're wearing a gi anyway, so you can still kill somebody like that back then. But we don't wear that stuff anymore, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So when I started, it was like very sport, and all the classes I did were very sport. And then when I went to Carlos's, I remember when we started rolling, he just took off his top and we were just rolling
Mm.
nogi. But to me, I was just like, oh, we're just doing jujitsu, right? I didn't know it was like a specific stream at that time,
Right.
right? And then, like if you watch like the video of me and Carlos, we never like he never like cross collar choked me, which is basically you take the collar and then you like choke somebody with their own collar. Even with that, like if you were to stretch my t-shirt, you're never gonna choke me
Hmm.
because you're just gonna rip the shirt. You know what I mean? So like that seemed the most practical, but everyone was teaching gi. Okay. And then there was this dude called Eddie Bravo. You've heard of him? Joe
Yeah. Yeah.
Rogan, Eddie Bravo, the conspiracy dude.
Hmm.
So he noticed that we were getting destroyed in MMA, like jujitsu people.
Hmm. Okay.
And he loved jujitsu. So he's like, well, why are we wearing the gi? Nobody uses the gi in jujitsu in MMA.
Hmm.
So he got rid of the gi and then he started creating these different types of like positions that would control you in a way without the gi.
Right.
Right. So it's like
Yeah.
more realistic, I'd say.
Practical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Practical. I'm all about practicality here. Like, why are you going to devote like 20 years of your life to something and then you're like, oh, I'd never use this. So what
Sure.
was the point?
Hmm.
Unless you're
Hmm.
building community and friendship. That's cool too. Community and friendship. So, so I went there and I would say that in the gi, I'm pretty decent. Like I can hang with the higher belts and even tap some of the higher belts, but like it was like weird because you're like, is this am I good or am I
Hmm.
like big fish small pond kind of thing, right? So I went to 10th Planet and so 10th Planet it's like a pro team. Like these if you're a black belt under 10th Planet, it's like you know some stuff. Like you can compete, you
Right.
know?
Hmm.
Like you can hold your own. Like it's like McDonald's. Like, branded. Like there's a standard,
Hmm.
you know? So like I was doing that and I was like, "Oh man." Well, they asked me how long you been doing jiu-jitsu and I was like, oh, "About like 6 years." 6 years, bro. Okay? And as I was rolling with those people, I was mediocre. I
Hmm.
wasn't even like all the moves that I would use normally in the gi and like hold people down and like pin them, they were escaping and I was like, "Oh, what the?" There was this one dude, he was giving me a hard time and then I tapped him out with the moves that I always use. And then he's like, "Yeah, like I had done Toronto BJJ before and then I stopped for 7 years and I've just started again and it's been 3
Okay.
months." And I'm like, "Bro, it's been 3 months and you're giving me a hard time."
Right.
So the thing about like 10th Planet is you don't wear a belt, right?
Hmm.
So I have no idea what your rank is. I'm just like locking eyes with someone like, "Are you want to roll? You want to roll?" But then there are certain people that like have a quiet confidence and then you're like, okay, you know some stuff,
Right.
right? Because like it's like
Mm-hmm.
they're not like hesitant. They're like, yeah, let's roll, sure. And they're like, they're just like thumbs up you. And then I got like tapped, which has been a long time, which I got tapped out like 4 times in 2 minutes, controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's a struggle, but this dude was locking me up in ways I'm like, bro, what are we doing here? But it's like because I'm not used to like these lack of handles. Like even before, like if you're gonna escape, I can still pull on your sleeve, so you're going nowhere.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like you're
yeah, yeah.
trapped in your own. It's like a straight jacket, right? And then these dudes can slip out. And I remember when I first like they were doing like let's do flow roll, right? Which is like you kind of warm up.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing the same moves that I was doing in the gi, which is what made me hard to tap, which is like little movements that let you escape. And I was like, okay, these are my people, bro. Because I was like, I need to be at this level. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because, like, dude, 6 years and I'm mediocre. What are we doing now
Mm-hmm.
here? You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, you throw some people that I've trained with in here, you're like a white belt, bro.
Right.
Like, a first day, like, these
Mm-hmm.
guys had some crazy tangles that I'd never seen before. But, like, so then you're like, okay, well, it's just that way, right? It's like that's like the style. They just know a style you don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yeah, totally. But if I'm wrestling with Arvel or you, or like at a family party, like I'm not like, hey, put on a gi.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
Right.
just going.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why wouldn't you want to learn the thing that's the most applicable,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oh, it makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And
I would say it makes
yeah,
sense for you.
right. But that's what I'm
Right.
saying. If we're playing a sport, let's play some sports,
Yeah,
bro. Like,
right.
where's the soccer ball? We can't play soccer without a soccer ball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you can do nogi jiu-jitsu anytime, anywhere, or
Mm-hmm.
wrestling or catch wrestling. Wait. What are you thinking?
No. I think what I'm trying to say is this is what you were looking for. Y-
Yeah,
Right, a
like
challenge is
uh,
something that's actually, you
like
know,
like useful.
yeah,
Like why? I just like for me, I just don't get it. I just don't get
right.
unless you're like, oh, this is just my gym time. Like, all right, so Tara
But
goes
that's
to the
the
Y,
right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like I'm just going to the Y,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it was weird because I was like, why do I feel like I'm out of place?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, dude, this guy's taking it way too seriously, bro.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like when remember I told you like when I train, and then if you listen to podcasts ago, it's like, why are you guys having a conversation on the mats, bro? Like we're here to train,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then like there is like no conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this is what we're doing, you know?
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's like, but why wouldn't you want that level?
I think everyone they're looking for different things, right? I think you've been looking for this for a while,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
right?
But the thing is this though. When you do karate, you're like, it's kind of widely known that karate, sure,
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of use it, you know? And then sure, like Krav Maga, you can kind of use it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, hit him in the face, hit him in the groin, whatever, right? But like jujitsu has that standard where it's testable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like for Asahabi, if you listen to him on Joe Rogan, he's trying to tell Joe Rogan that like there are places now, like jujitsu is becoming so watered down that it's becoming like karate. And then Joe Rogan's like, no, there's no way. And he's like, it's going to be harder because you have to be testable. Like your skill has to be still testable, because you're going against a combat. It's like live rolling. Like you're actually sparring with someone, right? And that's how you get better in most situations. That's how you get better. But like, it's weird that I'm seeing it now. Not weird, but like, I was warned about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when you feel that level of like 10th planet, like this is the standard, you're like, whoa, this is really good, but then you go to another place and you're like, wow, this is really crap, but you're walking around as if you're good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
this, it's a weird thing that I just like, it's so egoic. you know, people are like, oh, leave your ego at the door, whatever. But like, I've noticed, remember the thing about like peacocking, the less you know, the more you want to peacock to start, like to stop the violence. You know,
Hmm.
if somebody like gets out of the car, you're like, oh, like you're like puffed up and stuff. Like most people who don't know how to fight are going to get into a fight,
Hmm.
right? Because it's
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
you don't know how bad this can get or like how easy I could take you out or something like that, right? So I noticed that there's an arrogance in gi classes because they're like, I don't say all gi class, but like some schools, there's an
Okay.
arrogance, you know, where it's like, but then you're like, oh, you're not that good. But then at this one, I'm like, I felt no arrogance. I felt like, you want to go, let's go.
Hmm.
And I'm like, ooh, that's how I train too. Where it's like, you want to go, let's go.
Right.
Because we'll see who's better in
Hmm.
this like 3 minute thing,
Hmm.
you know? And like, the more violence you know, the more peaceful you get.